Good evening, good evening, good evening. We've actually got an extra show this month for you and a special one at that. And this guest has actually come on once before last year around this time. And so I want to share what she is up to this evening and share what she's going to be doing in the future. I do want to start off with the news. Yeah. And so I'm going to briefly go through this and breeze past this one. And the reason why I'm going to breeze past this one is about the Tim Westwood story. Now, if anyone knows Tim Westwood is a DJ who has been around since the 90s. If you were a hip hop head, and I was that much inclined in the 80s and 90s, you will know Tim Westwood. Now, he's just come into the news and into the frame as, oh my goodness, in terms of his sexual behavior towards women, assaults, accusations, and then on. This is not news to anybody who knows about Tim Westwood and has been around the hip hop era. It's been a long time coming, yeah, way overdue. He's been prolific for many, many years, but he's been shielded up until this point. And, now it's come on top. People are deciding that, yeah, it's a good idea to have him up on it. So I'm not even going to give him too much time and attention. I'm just glad the time is now. But I do want to go to some other news. And I thought, you know what? I'm so sick of the news right now. Are you sick of it? I'm sick of it, right? Not sick, actually, but just annoyed. Yeah. So I was looking for some news, and I thought, this is lovely. And I want to share this with you. So for those who don't know, yeah, if you're not aware, I'm going to just give me a second. I've got to reach it here because it's been going on all day. But the short version is that Kwame Nkrumah is going to be reburied. Yeah, he's going to be reburied. They don't think that the burial that he originally had is fitting enough. And so he's going to be reburied. And I think that's really lovely. And anybody who, has an affinity to Ghana, and we'll talk about Ghana again tonight, will really kind of feel this story. So I just want to acknowledge that, yeah, this is one of our ancestors, one of our greats. So it's an honor to hear that story. I know it's somewhere in the news and it's going underground, but I just thought it would be really nice to share that with you. I'm not going to, dwell over the news too much. I do have some exciting news, personal news as well. I know, and excited mum alert. She goes again. But it arrived. It's just a prototype. But it arrived, family. It arrived. So on Saturday, if you get down to Wembley, go to Ultra Education, and you will see my son in this. Yeah, and you will see it's obviously, those who don't know, he's just written a book, and so I'm saying to him, well, it's important to have a little bit of match, baby. Yeah, multiple streams of income. This is how we teach our children to be financially free. Yeah, right from the back. So I'm watching this space. I'm very excited. I'll be there on Saturday. So, come and say hello if you see me. Yeah, help me up, what have you, and I'll happily speak to you and stuff. So excited mum alert. I think that's enough for this month, don't you? And okay. However, now let's go on to the feature of the evening. And this is one of my favorite people. If you've seen the last interview that was done last year, you'll know that this is one of my favorite human beings. Yeah, I love this woman. Yeah, she is one of my mothers, my elders. Yeah, I've learned much from her over the years. But I want to give you, and I don't think I even read out as much as this last time. So I'm going to give you the full bio. Yeah. So bear with me. Yeah, while I read it out. Okay. So tonight we have with us Griot Chinyere. Griot Chinyere, as a storyteller of 30 years, is the teller of tales and the bringer of ancestral messages. She comes from a family of mystics, healers, dibias, djelis, masquerades, chiefs, teachers, and community leaders. As the Artistic Director of Shanti-Chi, a storytelling company, here to preserve, promote, and celebrate oral traditions of storytelling since 2009. She's the guardian of the culture. The application of the oral traditions and ancient practices are foremost front of Shanti-Chi's work. Griot says the oral traditions and ancient practices give us the deep connection to our ancestral roots, which enables us to be the designers, architects, and builders of our successful future. As a divine, sovereign, indigenous spirit in physical form, I love this woman, carrying ancient souls, she is the keeper of mysteries. Griot uses the oral traditions and movement to offer deep healing practices. As the founder of Inagu Storytelling Family Village, she holds sacred community space. The sacred spaces Griot Chinyere holds enables the spirit of the village to express itself with divine connection. The name Chineri means a gift from the divine womb of creation. Oh, Griot Chinyere has 30 years of oral traditions, teaching storytelling performances, spiritual practice of storytelling, and how to write a traditional story for the stage and outdoor venues. As well as working in the community, Griot has worked within the mainstream such as National Theatre, Unicorn Theatre, Pegasus Theatre, but to name a few. Also bringing her magic to top universities, colleges, schools. When Griot Chinyere works in schools, the children call her auntie, and the teachers do too if they can. Griot Chinyere received the Black Woman Artist Award 2013, 2014, 2015. Congratulations. She was also awarded NABS Award for Cultural Education 2018. Must get NABS on here, actually. Fantastic. Community awards are her favorite. Shanti-Chi received funding during, the pandemic to run the Griot Way Storytelling online performance group, which resulted in 6 new community stories giving us words of empowerment. Griot also has 15 years experience as a qualified expedition leader. Griot Chinyere was awarded funding during the height of the pandemic to set up the Feminine Melanin Rich Walkers of the Cosmos group, where she taught map reading, traditional identification, so tree identification, sign observation, how to follow a national walking path, develop presentation and storytelling skills, how to spiritually connect with trees, nature, Mother Earth, and deepening the understanding of the symbiotic laws of nature. Inagu Africa Storytelling Festival Village is in its 12th year and was started by Griot Chinyere and Mena Akumbene with the intention of creating a permanent storytelling village environment for us to experience in the diaspora, with the explicit aim of traveling to Ghana and remaining there. The dream team Griot works with are Sister Angie, James Beckles, and many more in the background, who are working on both Inagu 2022 and towards taking the family retreat village to Ghana in 2023. After the Inagu Ghana 23, Griot Chinyere plans to remain and accept a land donation from the Volta region chief to develop the Inagu Storytelling Community Village, which she's happy to talk to us more about. We are running a 3-day sponsored walk to help raise funds for our permanent storytelling village in the Volta. Griot asks anyone who loves walking to join us in September 2022. Come have adventure and raise funds for our desired future. So tonight, Griot Chinyere will talk about the spirit of the village, why she does what she does, and how to effectively interact with the spirit. So, in looking at her proverb for this evening, and this woman, this is so fitting for her. If you educate a man, you educate an individual. But if you educate a woman, you educate a nation. And this woman is a true nation builder. So without further ado, my lovely mother, I can see her smiling in the back there. Greetings, Mama.
Great uprising, Sister Rising.
It's lovely to have you again. So lovely to have you.
Thank you so much. Beautiful. Beautiful. And
that was it. You know what? When I first read your bio, I almost cried. Almost cried. I was like, this woman. look, I don't know if you can see it. It's coming. I love this woman. I love this woman. And I'm going to miss you. I already miss you, Ma.
Oh, but you're going to come. You're going to
I
come.
am indeed. So for those who don't know, I'll be there for 2022 and we'll hope to be there for next year, 2023. So, but we're definitely going to be there this year. So that's going to be wonderful. And I look forward to that. So tell us all about, look, some people know about the storytelling. Some people don't. Some people are learning and navigating their way through village. And, in your bio, you really share a lot about the work that you do. And I know that you also did a man's retreat recently as well, right? And so I want people to kind of get a real sense of what they'll experience. So maybe tell us a little bit about the walks you do to start with. Let's talk about that. Yeah, because that's a regular feature. Yeah, you're always trying to get me on a night walk. I always get this message. Come on a night walk, girl. Not today.
One day.
I don't mind. I really don't mind when I'm in the space. But when I am, if I think me thinking about the children, I'm a little bit like, okay, it's a lot to think about. But they're getting older. So they can start moving with me in certain maneuvers. Yes, again, a little dangerous and risque. Yeah, with their little limbs, and they are actually, to be fair, they're into parkour and those things. So they're getting there. They're getting there.
Okay, yeah.
So they're quite resilient. I am all about resilience children. So tell us a little bit about the walks, because I want people to get a sense of all the different things that you do and the way in which they can interact with your work, in different ways. Some people may be able to come to this, some people may not be able to participate in that. So I want to get a sense of that. So let's start with the walks, which are a regular feature, family. So let's talk about your walks.
Okay. So let me go back to the beginning of me, because I've been walking for years. And the first time I went walking, I went with somebody at university. And I just absolutely loved walking in the mountains, in the hills, and it was around a time when I just lost my mum. And so being in nature and walking a lot had such a healing effect on me. But I was often, when I was at university, surrounded by a lot of Wazunga people. And I remember thinking to myself, I really love to see my reflection. I love to see my sisters, love to see my brothers. So as I got older, and I was talking to Astamari, in fact, about, this desire to take people on walks into the countryside, he told me about this expedition leadership training, which I went and did. I took Amashade with me because I didn't want to be the only one. We had an amazing time. And then when I came back, that's when I started to offer walks. No, first of all, I did a 100-mile walk, solo walk, because I wanted to be able to tell people that I knew what I was doing and they could be confident in me, that I'd walked 100 miles by myself. So you can follow me. So then when I started to do the walks, I did day walks to begin with. I did day walks for women and children and families and men, and they were really, really popular. But then as they got more popular, more people were doing walks, daytime walks. So I thought, well, if people are doing the daytime walks, I can step back and I can start getting into doing night walks. And I'd always wanted to be able to walk through the forest at night by myself and feel relaxed and feel comfortable. And now that I can do that, it's like, wow, it just feels so, so good. So then I started to offer them those walks to people in the community, say, come on a walk, come on the night walk. And first of all, we just used to walk and people would be talking, but people would start going boo and bah, and start frightening each other. And people were seriously fearful of the night and the forest and the sounds. So I had to make it silent for the first 15 minutes. And then after that, everyone settled down. And then people started talking. And anyway, what we do now, we've evolved. It's silent the whole way through. Because I found that after 15 minutes of silence and then letting people talk, I didn't like it. I liked the silence. And actually, you can really get into the silence. And now everybody's really, at first, you get people going, why can't we talk? But when they get into it, there's something that shifts within you. emotionally, physically, spiritually. There's a cellular thing that happens, and there's a connection with your environment because you're silent. You're not talking. You don't feel the need to talk, and that's also really great. You're with people, but you're not talking to them. So you feel safe, you feel comfortable, and you're silent. And so I took that all the way from the beginning of the walk to the end of the walk. And then I started, because I do this thing called Chigwa. And Chigwa is an interaction with the trees, where you walk around the trees in a really slow manner, and you put your palms up as you're walking around the trees to connect with them and to communicate with them. So I thought, and I always did it in a circle. So I wondered, what would it be like to do it in a straight line and, you know, get people to do it as well? So I tried that. At first I thought, who's going to do this? I'm the only one that's going to go. But people really got into it, and they really felt the deep healing. Like the last time I went on a walk, a friend of mine, Ayana, I've known her for years. She suddenly came on the walk, the last one. And she said to me, we were on the bus. She said, so how long is the walk? And I said, oh, it's about 2 hours. She went, she just rolled her eyes like, it's a long thing, man. I said nothing, because I'm so used to people going, oh.
I'm a little bit worried, I must say.
We did the walk. We finished the walk, and at the end of it, she went, oh, is it finished? And I said, yeah. She goes, oh, wow, that was so quick. I said, I know it sounds long, but when you get into it, it goes so quickly. And then she phoned me up, because we did the walk on a Friday. She phoned me up on the Monday, and she said, I was not prepared for the deep healing that I received during the walk. She said it was just amazing. She was not, from, oh my God, this is a long thing, to, oh, wow, this has really affected her. And she said it was just coming to her for the whole weekend, and it was still coming. And she was just getting so much love. She could feel the love from the trees. She'd gone home. She could feel the love from the environment. She could feel the love from her ancestors. And there was a deep healing that happened for her. And every time I go, and I go weekly, I do feel that. I feel that deep healing that she's.
There is a connectedness. There is. I remember I have done one of the walks. I have, and tick right. I've done one of the walks. Yeah. It was a while ago, actually. It was a little while ago, and I remember it actually. I actually remember when, you know, how quick it went. Yeah. And that silence and the connectivity of it, yeah, and the subtle nuances. And when there is the silence, it makes you more aware, yeah, and it makes you naturally aware, naturally alert, more vigilant, and it helps you to make others safe at the same time, because all of you are kind of having that same stay safe. So everybody's, you know, supporting each other. If somebody steps on a rock, and it's in the way or what have you, someone might tell another person, or sort of like, you know, shift another person in a way. So it's kind of like, you know, there's a guidance there, and it's almost like a silent guidance that takes place. And it is a beautiful experience. So don't mind me. It is a beautiful experience. And I think
what you said there about a subtle guidance, like the more you do it, the more you start connecting telepathically. So like that silent connectedness, togetherness, then you don't need to speak anymore. You start really hearing each other and feeling it. It's amazing. Yeah. So it's a really good way of developing your telepathy. If that's
and the tuning in is key. Yeah, the tuning in, because you're looking out for the younger ones, you're looking out for the older ones. You know, you're constantly looking out for each other, by default, actually. And I don't know many scenarios and situations, especially in our community, that get created for us to take care of each other by default. That's why I don't, people don't maybe know much about our relationship, but there's so many layers to what you do, and every part of the work that you do is very conscious, very, what it is you want to have as an outcome for, you know, people always end up getting more than they expected. Always. Like,
I'm
you never,
always surprised as well. I was like, oh,
always. So I want, you know, so by all means, you know, are the walks on your website?
yeah. So now, because I used to do them monthly for other people, but life is quite busy, so I do them during the equinoxes, which is March and September, and I do them during the solstice, which is June and December.
Great.
So the next one is the 24th of June, and it is on the website, the website there.
Excellent. All right. And the weather will be nice and warm around that time.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice and warm. It is nice, but it means, because the day is longer, it means then we start a little bit
later.
Yeah. But we do it on a Friday. So I've changed it so it's a Friday, because before I would do it on the actual day of the solstice or the equinox, but then because lots of people were working, and if it's too late, then they're like, and people come from far, you know, to come and do the walk. So I've just.
But we also know that the equinox is, you know, yes, it usually, you know, it's the 21st, but it also, you know, we know that either side of it, given the Gregorian calendar, we all know that either side, the energy of it is still powerful. Yeah. So 24th is still going to be in the region, you know. So
no, it still works. It still works.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, I would recommend people come and do the walk, and not just do it one time, because the thing is, we do this prep, and so during the prep, people do get their confidence by the end of the walk. Because of one sister, she was a real scaredy cat. I can't even tell you. She like, I've had a few big scaredy cats.
You're not allowed to say that.
But at the end of the walk, she was like, I went in a scaredy cat, I came out a lion. These were her words. And obviously, what she went on to do after that, before she be on stage, no way, talk to people. She's bold, she's confident.
Yeah. It's those kinds of subtleties that bring up your internals. They bring up your internals, and then you have to, you know, you have to face yourself.
Yeah.
You have to face you've got nowhere to hide. If you're walking in the middle of the night, there's no hiding. It's just you. So
I know that sounds ironic. It's the night time. There should be loads of places to hide, but you can't hide from yourself. And you're
we've got Brother Near in the house. Come on.
Hey! We were just talking about
we'll have to get you on, beloved, for sure. I just want to hail up the chat a minute. So we've got Angie in the chat here this evening. Thank you, Angie. And we also have Ray in the chat this evening, and Ashanti as well, who talks about the heightened sense of awareness carries over to when you leave also. Yeah, absolutely. And you notice it. It's very subtle, but it has a lasting impression.
It's very powerful.
Very. So if you haven't, you know, if you haven't done a night walk, go for it. Absolutely go for it. It's a game changer. It's a bucket list moment. It's definitely what it is. It's definitely what you have to do. You have to. So I want to kind of,
one last thing as well is that if people want to learn to do a night walk training so that they can feel comfortable to walk in the woods by themselves, then please get in touch with me, because that feeling there, because I remember going from to, hey, I'm here, how we doing, talking to the trees, and you know, and listening to the night sounds. Like, you've got animals, they make a lot of noise in there. When the first time I heard them, but now I'm good with it. And then you hear them running through the bushes like that. And the first time I was like, but
where I live, we've actually got, I've got a if you like, a country park, and it's like there's sort of that nature reserve type dynamics. And if you're there in the night, it's pure bat dinner. Yeah. It's real. It's real in that space.
No, but bats are good. I mean, it's just the movies that make them sound. They're everywhere.
They never bother you. They just do their thing. Yeah. But so I just think I think it's a really important experience for people. Yes. Nia says, I will do the night walk if I get a little. You get the lip home. There you go.
Yeah, I'll give you a piggyback, yeah? All the way.
I love our people. I love our people.
I do.
I do. So that's it. Nia's booked. Go online, go to Shanti-Chi.com, go book that, Nia. I want a receipt.
Photograph.
I want to see.
Nia was here.
Oh, he says you got this. You got this. Don't worry about us, family. Yeah. Yeah. So tell us. You know, it's so funny. So tell us a little bit more. I know, look, you know, we talked a little bit about your storytelling and how you came about it before. And you come from a very strong line. Yeah. And I think people want to understand, you know, a lot of us, we have to understand that the griot is, you know, and culture, the music culture that we live in, that in itself has the storytelling aspect. Yeah. And some people may do it through spoken word, through rap, through, you know, all sorts of different variables. And so people may not even make the link. Some, you know, maybe more young people, but may not make the link between being a griot, a storyteller, yeah, to tell the stories of our family or our village or our community. They don't necessarily know that. And I think you know, I'm sure you mentioned it the last time. And if anyone wants to go back, go and check out the last time that Sister Griot was on. But what was the moment for you in terms of choosing that pathway? Because you could have chosen a different path, of course.
No, I could have. No, because when I was little, I used to watch a lot of musicals, and I thought I was going to grow up to be, you know, I don't know, a Judy Garden that couldn't sing but could dance, you know. So I could have gone down another path, but I trained in theatre of the deaf, so it was all about sign language and movement and that kind of expression. And then I came out and I worked in lots of like the mainstream organizations because that's what I wanted to do, because I sort of thought that was the thing to do. But people kept saying, because I would tell people about my travels and what I've been doing, and they were going, you know, you should get into storytelling. You know, you should get into storytelling. And I realized now that was the divine sending messages to me, because I wasn't hearing them any other way. And I think somebody asked me to do a storytelling, and they paid me £50. And it was the first time I'd ever done storytelling. And the response was so amazing. I just thought, oh, I like this. I like the telling of the story. And initially, I just thought it was, you learn a story, you tell a story, or you create a story, you tell a story. But as the more I told stories, the more I started to take them apart, deconstruct them, really read between the lines and understand the message of our ancestors. And so that understanding gets me to tell the stories even more differently and ask questions of the listeners as I'm telling the stories. And when I'm writing stories, that also plays a whole big part in how I write stories. But yeah, it was 30 years ago. I can't believe that I have grown so quickly. 30 years ago, I was like 28 or something. And that's when I started doing storytelling. And also it meant that I could be an independent, because I was, you know, children would come in and I wanted to be independent. I didn't want to have to work for anybody. Even as a freelancer, I didn't want to have to work for anybody. I wanted to find my own work. And so that allowed me to do it. But it just, and then as I learned more about storytelling, I realized more about my family. I had no idea that I came from this rich, I knew my grandmother was a dibia, and I knew my grandfather was a chief. So I met them when I was little. But everybody was quiet about my grandmother being a dibia. Even today, my auntie doesn't talk about it. She said, no, I'm a Christian. I'm a Catholic. We don't have those sort of people in our family. I said, Auntie, what about your mum, my grandmother? She's she's in denial. But my time in motherland, when I stood, that was my favorite time. At 10 years of age, I stood in front of my village and I told them my personal story. I don't think I've ever spent that much time telling my personal story to a group of people that not necessarily speaking my language, but just feeling my vibes. That's all. I didn't speak English and I didn't speak Igbo. but they were feeling my vibes. That's all. It wanted to feel my vibes. They wanted me to talk, wanted me to express myself. They wanted to feel my vibes. So they asked me to tell them about my time on the motherland. And that's what they did. They felt my vibes, and then they blessed me. And I know that they blessed me, and I know that they protected me, because if I ever tell you some of the situations that I've got myself into and managed to get myself out of, this is somebody who has been blessed by a whole village. That feeling where a village is taking care of you, it's second to none. Having a whole village, even for that, I'm just thinking, even for that short amount of time, it was amazing. And if I had grown up in that, whoa, because I only had a short taste of it, but what a difference! What a difference! At 10 years of age, when I came back, I was 10 feet tall. You know, you couldn't tell me nothing. I got village, man. Who are you talking to me? Call yourself a teacher? I got village.
Pure sass. Pure sass.
Pure sass. They thought I was trouble before I went. Oh yeah. When I came back, I was having none of it, mate. None of it. It was, but it is a deep, and Sabanfu talks about it so well in her book, that sense of village. So when I stood there and the whole village was listening to me, I was like, that was beautiful, but I wasn't conscious.
Well, it sounded like they gave you a stage. It sounded like they gave you a natural stage.
Yes. Oh, because it was under the tree. They was all around, you know, they were just all sitting there around, and they were listening. Even they didn't speak English. They were having little conversations. They were listening. I've never known listening like it, honestly.
So they're listening, but they're listening to the unsaid, even though they're listening to the subtle nuances of your passion, you know, how you gesticulate, all of those things, how animated you will be. And this woman is a very animated woman.
And the vibrations, you know, the vibrations.
Absolutely. And that alone, and, you know, you're a big personality as it is. So I can imagine if, as a young person, you know, it's really interesting because it's a beautiful story, and it really shows you what is possible for children living in a village setting, or being in that and around that environment, where people are open to you sharing your story, displaying how you display, and loving you for it as well. And you don't hear enough about that for children as it is. You don't really hear, okay, they get an opportunity to do X, Y, and Z, and then, you know, they're covered by the village. We know that we're building that. That's what we do. We look to cover our own, but, you know, there's that individualism that keeps taking place. It always kicks in. From a Western perspective, it always kicks in. It's like a default setting that we have to retrain ourselves in, for sure. All of us. I don't think anybody's really exempt until you leave this here thing.
No, this environment demands that you do individuality. You have to consciously decide that I'm gonna do village, that I'm gonna be open. But it's just like it keeps creeping in, and you go, ego, will you just leave me alone? Just go and sit in the back, you know. You have to do it all the time, because it comes for you. It comes for you all the time. So village is just such a beautiful thing for children, for people, just to be in that space. And I think that's the catalyst that brought me to the place of wanting to create that environment in this space, you know. Village.
Absolutely. I think so that what I hear is that you came back with a renewed confidence, and then the rest kind of unfolded. So let's fast forward from being 10, and how that had you go. We've already listened to your bio this evening, and it's so vast, and, you know, and so rich, and when they say that when an elder dies, a library goes with them, this is what I'm talking about. yeah, in the world of when we all pass. Let us lay down our roots. Let us lay down our foundation. Let us lay down our legacy. Yeah. Not wait for a circumstance, but lay it down such that it's already there. It's all in the fabric of our communication with each other. Yeah. And to be able to talk about each other in that way, in such an endearing way, before the ancestral realms. Yeah. So, this being, yeah, I recognize the power of that growth. And I know, it's wonderful that you talked about 10, because I remember when I was 10. I think 10 is a very powerful year. A lot of children, and if you're a parent, 10 is a year. It's a very, we just say, okay, it's a couple of digits, but for them, it's huge. It's huge to be 2 digits. It's huge. And I remember being 10 and my mother having me read the speech of William Lynch, 1712. Yeah, that was my that was my wake up. 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 Yeah, and from 10 years old, I said to myself, and I wasn't always in my consciousness, quite wild. And I said at that point, when I have children, I have to be conscious. I just knew my children could not go through life without that. Yeah. So each one of them have to read that at 10. Yeah. They already get, yeah. They already get all the foundations and stuff, of course, but they also get that part. And then it's a discussion. Was it real? Was it not? Was it put by this? My middle one, my 12-year-old, has asked me to watch Harriet with him tonight. The Harriet Tubman story.
Oh, that's a great story.
It's a lot. Listen, Harriet Tubman's.
It's a great story. It's
that's
a
my
great
lady there.
story.
That's my woman there.
She's a hero. She doesn't die. She doesn't get stabbed in the back. She doesn't lose anybody. Everybody that comes. I mean, she is the boom. She finds time to she's going through the woods, and then she's taking people with her, and she goes into trance because she doesn't know which way to go. So she goes. Imagine you're in the woods in the middle of the night. You're trying to run away. You can hear dogs yapping in the background, and the person that's leading you has gone into trance. And you can do nothing but wait. So they wait. She comes out of trance and she says this way. And that's powerful, man. And she didn't lose anybody.
No, it's a beautiful story. And for me, she's one of these people that really resonate with me. I've got a real affinity with Harriet Tubman. Yeah. And I ask myself often, like, as women, and this is important for the brothers, yeah. It's important for brothers to know that there are Harriet Tubmans inside of some of these women that yeah? And allowing that Harriet Tubman to flourish. Don't micromanage it. Don't try to discuss it in a way where it's okay, she's being masculine. There's no way. Yeah, I want to be clear about this whole I just want to set the record straight on this masculine and feminine nonsense. Yeah, nonsense. Yeah. It plays its part. But you see, when we're in a critical position, yeah, we don't have no time to be skipping, making daisy chains. Yeah, that's not. Yeah, people gonna die. Yeah, if we're doing that. So women do have to be masculine.
My daughter's knocking on the door. Let me let her in.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Let's go to some comments. Right. Who we got?
Come back.
Come on, just go to the comments. You do your thing. Take a break. Go to the bathroom. Go. So, this evening again, we at Shanti. The freedom of the children during the festival is second to none. Oh, come on. We'll get there. We'll go there. Daddy Make Stowe, good evening. Good evening. Daddy Make Stowe says, sending love and protection each and every time. Love to the Queens holding space. And we have Brother Dennis. Yeah, I might ask you to come on at that point because he did come last year actually. So
I want to say to the sister that talked about the children having space. That's what I loved when I was 10. That's something I don't talk about. When I was 10, I'd be off with the children. In the beginning I was stush, and I wouldn't go with them. Be like, they don't have no shoes on. I'm not going to play with them. Day 1, day 2, but by day 3, I took off my shoes and socks, and I was running free. That is so important. Having the freedom to just run. One of the festivals, the volunteer was following some children behind, and one of the children go, "Oh, which way is it to go home?" They're talking about their tent. And the 4-year-old in the group said, "I know the way home." And the 4-year-old took them home. Where else in this metropolis would a 4-year-old get the opportunity to lead people home? Can you see?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's amazing. That's big.
I mean, let's fast forward then. We fast forward to the festival, and it's the birth of the festival. Yeah, you know, how, when, and why.
How?
Yeah. No pressure. You got Mother Angie in the house this evening. She's on the team, actually. She's one of your team members, actually. Great. Griot Chinyere.
You know what she says? She says that I ran her down. I fished after her.
I think they call it headhunting these days.
Yeah. She used to use that word, but now she said,
"You accosted her."
I love her.
Oh, wonderful. Good evening, mamas. Good evening. Yes, so you created
from the beginning.
Let's go back. Yeah, because it's been going 12 years now. Strong. And now this is its final year in the UK. It hurts. It hurts. But it's new beginnings, fresh beginnings, fresh pastures. Yeah. And it served its time being here, I think.
I think so. I think
it's a beautiful time.
Up the mantle now. I think so. Well, I have to go back to, I used to go to festivals like, thank you, like Glastonbury and Reading, and there was a Forest of Dean festival, always full of Wazungu people. It hurts bad.
I think you're talking about the walk-in here. Are you still feeling the pain from that? Let's just know. I hope not. A long time. So yes, go back.
Yeah, so having gone to those, so having done my 10-year-old stint, and then I'd gone back 18 and 20. I've been back to the village a few times, and then having gone to uni and been introduced to festivals like Glastonbury and Reading, and they're set up. I'd be looking around and thinking, you know, all of these practices are practices from our ancestors. They're our ancestral ancestors, but none of us are here benefiting from all of this wealth of that's in our DNA. And I always used to, like, again, there's always a part of me, I can sit in a room with lots of white people and be very comfortable and but there's always a part of me that wants my sisters and my brothers to be around me, my children and my aunties and my uncles. I want
real talk.
My people to be around me. That's when I'm most comfortable. So that was in my mind. Now, then I met a brother named Asafo. When I came to London, I met Asafo, and he used to talk to me about a sister named Amashade. So then when Amashade and I met, we met at one of his parties. I was driving, I had a house in a truck. And so Amashade had heard about me. So me and Amashade went and sat we left the party and we sat in my truck and we just talked. And we were just so happy to find each other. Amashade was running this event called Ancestral Gathering. And I think she ran it.
We were there. That's where Yes. I love it.
So I was a part of the management, and so was Nia. The last one that she did, Nia and Galactic Clyde and myself and Ife and Pablo, Oshalando. We were part of the last Ancestral Gathering. And then after that, Amashade decided she wasn't doing it anymore. And I was like, gutted, man. Because I went to a house. I left Southeast London to go clean across to West London to say, yo, sis, come on. You got to do it again. But she was adamant that she wasn't doing it. So I sulked for a couple of years. And then I said, all right,
As you do, right?
As you do. Now, as I get older, my soul can get shorter, but
Yeah. You know it. You know it. You
and
don't
so
have
then
time
I
to
said,
say,
all
"Oh,
right, I'm going to stop complaining. I'm going to
that's
stop
right.
complaining, and I'm going to make
Start
it happen.
creating."
Yes. And so that's
Mm-hmm.
when I came up with, well, actually, I was in Ghana at the time, and I was talking to a brother in Ghana about wanting to create this thing. And, you know, he was so encouraging when I was talking about it. So I said, all right. But the idea, well, I wanted to do it in Ghana, but I thought, but I don't know Ghana that well, and also I don't want to come here on my own. I want to come with people. So that's when I thought, you know, Amashade started this thing. Let me work with, you know, what's all the foundations that have been laid. Let me build on that. So then I started to do. I called it Sessa. No, actually, the first one I did was storytelling rituals, and it was just an evening in Oxley's Woods. And we had about 60, 70 people come. That was really good. And we did ritual and storytelling, and we had Demilla and El Crises. They were poets that they tell poetry stories. They'd pop out from a tree and they'd do a poem, and then they'd hide back behind the tree, and we'd take people through the woods, and they'd listen to a story and chant and sing. It was beautiful. And then the next time we did 12 hours from dusk until dawn. We did storytelling, and Angie Amra was there, and a friend Amma Mo was there. Yeah, and it was quite a few people that come to support the idea, the vision. And then we did 2 days, and then we did 3 days, and people were going, it needs to be longer. Then we did 4 days, and people said it needs to be longer. Then we did 5 days, and people said we should be longer, but we're sticking with the 5 days. Someone was saying, oh, it should be the whole summer. I said, do you know how much
Oh, yeah.
For the whole summer. But if you want to live that life, because that's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing that people want to actually just live the village life. And so there needs to be a space where people can go, I want to live the village life. And initially I was going to do a permanent village here in England, but it's just, I've had enough of the cold. So anyway, it went from Sessa Wusuba. When we did the overnight thing, 2 days, it became Sessa Wusuba. And Sessa Wusuba means transform yourself. And it was Sessa Wusuba for maybe 2 or 3 years. And then it went to Inne Argul. And Inne Argul means mother of divine nation. Because I was thinking, okay, yeah, this is what we want to build. We want to build a divine nation. All of us have that divinity within us. What do we do to unlock it so that we can come forward with our divinity? So Inne Argul, mother of divine nation, because, you know, all of us that are lucky enough, we are born of a mother's womb, from our mother's womb. So that's and that's how it's been going. Now, 2 years ago, I was tired. Honestly, I was tired. I was fed up. I was like, oh, I don't want to do this anymore. And that's when I found Sister Angie. She came on board because I was. So anyway, I talked to her and I thought, yeah, people were going, no, you can't stop it. You can't stop it. And when people were saying you can't stop it, I remembered me saying to Amashade, you can't stop it. And I thought, oh, I didn't like that feeling when she said no. So I didn't feel right to say no. So I asked Sister Angie if she would come and join the team, and Brother James. Yeah, and they did. And they're really solid people. Like they have integrity. Because it's really hard to find people who say what they're going to do and do what they're going to say.
Mm-hmm.
And they have that, and that really makes a difference in a team when you've got people who just
solid.
Yeah, solid. And if they haven't done it, it's because something's happened, and you just remind them, and they'll go, yeah, and they'll get it done. You know, they're not trying to dodge it, but unless there's a struggle or a problem, they've got great communication skills, so they'll talk about it. They're brilliant. They're just great to have on the team. I just feel a lot calmer and able having them on the team. It makes all the difference. It makes all of the difference. You know, and because if you say something to me, my initial reaction is I trust what you say until you show me otherwise. I will just, if you say this, I trust it, I believe it until you show me otherwise. So I'm always like, I'm with you. And then until you show me otherwise, and I'm like, oh, okay. I've got to start again over
Real talk. That's real. Yeah. Start with trust.
Yeah, always.
And let people show you who they are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Simple.
think it's the best way, really. I can't be any other way.
Yeah, you can't be coming into it like
because you get nothing done.
You can't build under that. Yeah,
no,
you can't build on that kind of dynamic. You've got to take people from where they are, trust who they are to start with, and go
from them. And if they disappoint,
90 days in the space of 90 days, people reveal themselves. That's what I've learned.
Less than.
That's what I've learned. Give people 90 days and you'll see. That's another conversation. And those are my life tips. Let me just go to the comments a minute, and I'm going to open up the space because people are, you've got this is like a slight reunion we're having here, family. We're having a reunion, and we have a hold of poetry. Come on. And this sister will be there facilitating this year with me also this year. So that's fantastic. And I saw you last year, sis. So I'm happy to see you again. Definitely. And our sister Sonia.
Sister Sonia.
Sisters. Chineri, thank you for giving me the experience of village life here in the UK. What will this be like in the motherland? Wow. Just
to say, she said thank you twice. She said thank you.
Sorry. Apologies. Let me go back. You always start the show again. Hold on. Let me just start the show again. Love you. And we've got Dennis here. He's talking about he's saying wow, and he was there last year as well, and he's talking about my William.
William. I was traumatized hearing it as an adult, much less at 10.
Do you know why I was probably shown it? And I tell you why, and it's a personal story, because colorism was real in our family. It was real, and I was one of the darker Q, believe it or not. Yeah. Really? Yeah, right.
Wow. Look at you.
So colorism was real. So my mum, being fairer shade and very Black Panthers at that time, very influenced by the Black Panthers at the time, and very fair in complexion, she wanted to show that disparity was from a deeper place, actually. So I'm glad she did that. That's a game changer. That was a game changer for me. And even my children, we just discuss it. You don't just leave a child with the thing. You discuss the thing. That's what I'm saying, because it's quite intense.
But it's also good to know.
You have to remember, I come from the generation when Roots first came on the TV. I was about 4 or 5 years old. Yeah. And we all watched it. It could have been your baby. You were just born. Everybody watched Roots. Everyone. So you were to Roots immediately as soon as it came.
The anger and the upset and the
well, another day.
Yeah, no.
But we have Sadi, holistic health greetings, my beloved sisters. And he also says, like your persons, Amashade, and I shared the ancestral space too. It's uplifting to hear your journeys. Love always, Mama Eureka. Oh. Shh. I'm not going to say who that is. That's someone very close to me. Very, very close to me. Oh, we've got them all in tonight. Listen,
Sandra.
Come on. I would urge everyone to go on a Griot Chinyere's walks and camp festival. Simply the best. Give thanks and praise always. So I'm going to invite people in to the conversation. Well done, Mom. Thank you, beloved. I'm gonna invite people into the conversation. I'm gonna put the link in the chat, and you can step in and put your camera on, your mic on, and then I'll be able to see you and accept you in. I won't be able to accept you in if you don't show that. If it just won't allow you to come in. Short. So let me just grab that, and I think, it makes sense. I mean, I'm actually going to pop up your your flyer. Actually, I'm going to just do that shortly, because the festival is this year, yeah, and it's important for people to start thinking about, okay, you know what, start planning for it, right?
Yes.
You know, start planning for it, because you know it's you. And if you can't, if you have to travel, there's a minibus as well.
No, we're not having a minibus, we're having a coach this year.
Ooh.
A proper coach with Wi-Fi,
yeah.
and a toilet and air conditioning.
Oh,
Let me not assume that everybody understands the setup of the festival. So the way the festival set up is that we have we have workshops. So in the morning we have yoga and martial arts. During the course of the day we have lots of workshops. We have workshops on how to write your personal story, how to tell your personal story, how to write a story, understanding the structure of an African story, how to read between the lines and gather the messages from the ancestors of a story. We have drumming. This year we've got drumming that travels from the Caribbean, from Africa to the Caribbean and beyond. We have movement workshops, we have music workshops, we have around the fire sessions in the evening, we have professional performances, mystical performances in the evening, and we have the night walk meditation. We also have a wellbeing practitioners area where you can go and get readings or massage, you know, people that do we have the acupuncture this year? I'm not sure, but you know, there's a wellbeing area, so you can just spend time in this environment focused on your health and well-being, and go to well-being and do one-to-ones. We have the caterers. We have healthy, delicious, tasty food. We have healthy, delicious cooked food, and we have healthy, delicious raw food. So you have options. Or we have delicious cakes, akara cake. And it's funny because the name of the cake store, akara, was one of the things that we said in the show that we did. It was like akara, bean cake. And so when I sent around she's called Akara, so I thought she's got to come, she's got to be, so she's going to be there this year. So we've got food, and we've got a market stall where we have stall holders who have integrity. It's the whole shebang. We've got clean toilets, we've got hot showers, we've got camping, we got glamping. So if you have a tent, come with your tent. Get your 5-day pass. If you need a tent, we can hire your tent. If you want a glamp, we have glamps on offer. And we also have a cab. I think the cabins are gone and the boat houses are gone. The people that have gone before, they keep their eye out open. So as soon as anything comes up, they're in and they whoop it up. But yes, we would love to welcome you in this space. But the most exciting thing about being in this space is being surrounded by your melanin-rich sisters and brothers. And you do feel like you're in a village. We hire out the whole space, so nobody else is there but us. And the children get to explore, and parents get to chill. Then it's beautiful. That's all I can say, really. So I just wanted to explain the setup and what you can expect when you get there.
Absolutely. And I think, you know, I remember my children were there last year. And, you know, your children can lovingly go explore and still feel safe and supported. You know, and, you know, it's almost like, you know, it's that old school feeling of, you know, come back when it's dark.
Or you know? When you're hungry, or when you're hungry.
It's that feeling. It's like, oh, they only contact your children. Only listen, if you're working out, okay, how's it going to work with the children? Let me tell you something. Your children will just disappear from you. They're not even interested in you until they're hungry.
Honestly, you've got 5 children and you think
they don't care about parents. They're not interested. And you know what's beautiful is the children are getting along. They're having to, you know, so much socialization skills. And if there are challenges, you know, children get into little squabbles. Things get resolved powerfully because of the space that we're in. Mm-hmm. And everyone knows that I did last year. We talked about Sabonfu and conflict rituals and things like that. We did all of that work last year. But it really is you know, one of those amazing experiences for the children. It's so rich, so much so that when we came back from that space, you know, we had like, you know, no tech days, and we talk about, we call them village days. Yeah, when there's like no tech days. Yeah, we're having a village day, and they just kind of know, and they're like, and they adapt, yeah, to it without too much, you know, kerfuffle. It's a soundbite. It's a proper soundbite in here. You know, if you say it's a village day, Okay.
No, that's great. I think that's beautiful. It reminds me of this sister who brought her nephew. This is a few years ago. And when she brought him, he was kicking and screaming and crying. I don't want to be here. I want my PlayStation. I want my computer. No, 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 no. She left him. She went to go and put up her tent. While she was putting up the tent, the other children came to him and said to him, "Do you want to come and play in the woods?" And he's like, "Are you allowed in the woods?" And they're like, "Yeah, safe." So he went off, played with them in the woods. At the end of the session, at the end of the whole event, when it's time to pack up and go home, he's like, "I don't want to go home. I want to stay here. I don't want to stay here." Because he just transformed and he learned something about life without computers and without PlayStations, and that life can be exciting and fascinating. Just connecting to another human being and connecting to your environment. I mean, yeah, if you're living in built up areas, we do spend a lot of time connecting to technology. But when you're in nature, you connect to the nature and you connect to the people that are around you. It's great. So yeah, children, bring your children. If you've got 5 or 6 of them, it's fine. Amishadi was telling me that she hardly saw her son and she wondered how he ate. And people were saying, "Oh, don't worry, we fed him today. Oh, we fed him this."
And that's kind of how it is. That is very much how it is. It's like people are really looking out for your children, and you're not leaving them there. You're not kind of like, okay, you babysit my children. People are just naturally looking after everybody's children. The same way when we talked about, the importance of we're talking about the walk. Yeah. And when we're talking about the walk and the actual caring for each other, I'm hoping this thing will come up. And the walk allows people to kind of take care of each other by default. There you are. By default. And so, this is a kind of a farewell, though, isn't it, this year? Because this is you doing the very last year of the festival in the UK, and then to pastors new. So I just want to read off this flyer for anyone who can't see it quite clearly. The Inagu 22 says, "Farewell to Griot Chinyere. Celebrate the mystic vibrations conjured annually for the last 12 years. Griot will establish pertinent storytelling village on the motherland in 2023. So join us. We honor the spirit of Winnie Mandela this year." Yeah. And I think I want to ask you why. And I think it's a beautiful completion, actually. But I want to understand why you chose her. I have a personal experience with Winnie Mandela, for those who don't know, and if you've never heard my story before, I'll share that in a minute. But so when you asked me to come and facilitate again this year, I was like,
I know you were so excited.
It was my favorite author. Like you're doing something here, like you're tapping in, and and so it's July. So let me just tell the dates. A lot of us are going to be there. I will, closer to the time, I'll show some more information about it, because obviously, there'll be more flyers and more information. So this is the flyer currently, but it'll be Monday the 25th to Friday the 29th of July, and it will be Willowbrook Farm, Hampton Kidlington, and that's in Oxford, right?
Oxfordshire, just outside Oxford.
Yeah. Yes. So you can tent hire, camping, glamping, bell tents, cabins, boathouse. Yeah, traders welcome, well-being practitioners, caterers. Yeah, there's going to be fantastic spaces. And as the weeks go on, I will let you know who's on there. So don't worry. Yes, there's lots of us, and there's a few of us that you will already know. But there will also be a few people that you might not know. So it's an opportunity for you to get to know those people in that kind of setting. But why Winnie Mandela? Tell me.
Because Winnie Mandela is, could say, the empress of what the symbol of freedom and liberation.
Mm-hmm.
And I suppose the idea within their Argyle Storytelling Family Retreat, for being in a village, for me, being in a village is a possibility to express oneself fully, and being able to express yourself fully and watch the fear diminish and the confidence and the self-love grow is an expression of freedom and liberation. And taking the festival from here and going to the motherland and setting up in a village, so that I'm not living in the city anymore. I'm living in the village and creating a village space with other people is a symbol, is an action towards freedom. That's what I look for. It is to be able to be free to walk, free to put my feet in the water, free to climb trees, free to pray, free to laugh, free to cry, free to lie, free to hear, feel the sun on my skin, feel to speak, free to speak, to laugh, free to hug the trees, free to eat from the trees, free to eat from the ground. Just for me, it's an action of freedom. And Winnie Mandela, that's what she fought for. She's the symbol of freedom. So it just was freezing. But because I was sitting there going, who? And then the ancestors go, it's not really that difficult, is it? Winnie, isn't it? And it's like, oh yeah, bloody hell, it's Winnie. It's got to be Winnie. It's going to be Winnie. And for that reason, she's the symbol of freedom. And so when I spoke to you and you were going, you met her, I was like, oh, bloody hell, who hasn't she met? She met everybody.
I know that 2003 was a very powerful year, because I even met Credo Mutawa that year as well, right?
The same year, wow.
Not only the same year, in the same week, yeah.
Well, were they in England?
I was in South Africa.
Oh.
I was in South Africa in 2003 on my honeymoon. and we were staying where we at the time, not many people know this, but we actually had our wedding sponsored, myself and my ex-husband, we had our wedding sponsored by Black businesses in 2003. And so what had happened is the connections that we made at the time, because it was a big thing, and the connections at the time meant that we were in, so it was like divine timing. We were just in the right place at the right time. Seriously, like we went there with no expectation. We were on our soil, like that was enough for us. We just had our DNA tested at that time to find our ancestry, which was really powerful at that moment, because we had our DNA tested many years ago, when that I think it was the BBC put it out many years, about 20 years ago now, if you like, yeah. And we contacted the company and they sponsored us to get it done. Yeah, we told them we were getting married. They sponsored us. They said, yeah, okay. They had the largest database, I think Cambridge database at the time when they had it. And for me, I can't speak for everyone. It's a personal choice to go and have your DNA tested for your ancestry. But for me, where there was a lot of stories missing, information missing on certain parts of the family, it helped to, create some kind of link. So my DNA goes back to Senegal, Mauritania, Morocco, Saudi, Niger. I also know on my father's side it's Ghanaian, on my mother's side is Nigerian. So I already know that, but I didn't know the others. So we'd already had our DNA tested at the time. And my ex-husband looked very much like the people from Mozambique. Yeah. And there's a specific look that they have in terms of their color, their neck. There's a particular, you can see the ancestral throwback in him. Yeah. Now, he hadn't actually had his results there. Yeah. So we were on the fence at the time as to whether this was any good, these kind of, companies or whatever. But when we went to South Africa, we went to South Africa and we met lots of people. We went down to Mozambique and the people there said, you look like the people from Mozambique, they said to him. Yeah. Now, like if you've seen the musical Umoja, yeah, everybody, there's a particular look. He looks like that, right? And the tribe is very clear. And so he's got that throwback. He's from Jamaica, but it's a throwback. And so we had no idea when his results later came back. Yeah. When we came back, his results, mine came up dotted about, and his came back Mozambique, Kenya. And I was like, all right. So when we were there, we were staying with different people. We stayed with some diplomats. The person that made our rings was a black jeweler who used to work for Christie's. Yeah, Christie's, if you like Christie's, right? So beautiful rings, etc. And then he was connected to diplomats at the time, and he said, right, I've got friends over here, you can stay with them. Now, we don't know how important they are, what they're really doing. We don't know anything about it. All I know is when we get over to South Africa, they're so excited that we're coming over. It's wild, right? But they get a busload of young people, yeah, busloads of young people to come down and perform and literally give us like a traditional ceremony, yeah, inside of the space, and sit down at a big table, etc., etc. So that was wonderful. And we said to them, at that point, Nelson Mandela was alive. So we said, oh, we'd love to meet Nelson Mandela. And we were staying on sort of a little compound with this family, and the diplomatic family. And they said, oh, to meet Nelson Mandela, it's a 2-year waiting list. Yeah. So my son and my husband went, oh, well, we've only got 2 weeks. What can we create? So they gave us something
much better. Much better.
Just enriching. Yeah. Now I'm not going to leave the space, but I'm not going to leave the space and leave and get some jewelry that I actually have from my sister Winnie Mandela, that she gave me her personal jewelry. But what had happened is that they said, oh, okay, they just took us. We didn't even know we were going. They just took us to Winnie Mandela's house. And what happens is, it's a shanty towns around it. And then they're a large house in the middle. And so we were like, and then we were kind of told as we kind of got there. Yeah. And so when we walked through, we walked through a massive room with artifacts and all sorts of wonderful artifacts for Nelson Mandela. It was like walking into a shrine. Yeah. And then we walked out and we met her. Yeah. And then we talked about her story. She talked about what happened, why she had to. And I'm not going to share it. If you want to know more, you're going to have to come to the festival. I'm not going to tell you any more about that story. But yeah, I'll tell you that story when I'm there. But she told us a lot about the story. It made sense, and we met her daughter and her daughter's husband, and they were very already conscious. We were sharing books.
I'm so envious.
It was lovely. It was.
Do you know what though? You said you walked in and because at the festival we're going to be having a pathway, a Winnie Mandela pathway that will lead from one place, take you into the woods, and then end with a shrine. So you can help us with that. Because you met her, you were in
I love
house,
the shrine.
And she gave you her jewelry. Yes, that pathway, that Winnie Mandela pathway, is going to be boom.
Yes.
To that. Yeah, no, that's a beautiful story.
Yes,
I always wanted to meet her.
It was an absolute honor. I was so touched by the experience. I really was kind of like, wow, I've never really expected to, engage like that.
That's a celebrity. Like, there's not very many people that I would get excited about meeting, but Winnie Mandela would have been one of them. Harriet Tubman would have been another one of them.
Absolutely.
Who's alive now that I'd want to, other than, I know all the great people. Yeah.
So and then in the same month, in the same week, we went to Credo Mutawa's house. Yeah, I know. And I know,
I'm
right?
not soaking.
I know.
So blessed. No, that's blessed. That's blessed.
And so I was like, and he actually at that time, in 2003, I just became a doula. Yeah. So he literally gave me, a small instrument for me to be able to listen to the baby. Yeah. And I was like, wow, and he talked a little bit about those kind of experiences. It was very.
That's a sacred bit of instrument that you've got there.
Listen, no one's ever allowed to touch that thing. Yeah.
You're supposed to listen to the baby with it.
Exactly. Yeah, you can listen to the baby. Absolutely. So that was what had happened, and I was like, so it was such a beautiful experience. It was so rich for me, and I thought, actually, what I would need to do, is kind of, I suppose, it reinforced the freedom fighter in me, and it reinforced the doula in me. Yeah, it made it real. Yeah, like, because my focus would be to, work in Africa, childbirth in Africa. That's the mission, Yeah, absolutely.
Well,
So
we need one in our village. We don't have one yet.
listen, we're gonna talk. We're gonna talk birthing centers. But look, I want you to carry on. I'm gonna have to come off screen a minute because I'm gonna have a technical here. So I need you to carry on, and I want you to be able to tell them, a little bit more about what they're gonna get this year. Yeah. So I'm gonna come off screen. Don't worry. Don't worry about me. I know this woman can handle it. She's like co-host this evening, and the co-host this evening is. So bear with me. Go ahead. You just have your space, Mama. I'm just gonna fix some of the technicals.
You'll be back, right? You'll be back.
I'll be back for sure. 100%.
Okay. Thank you. So what to expect this year? Well, I've kind of given an outline of what the various aspects of the village is going to be like. And then the extra thing of the Winnie Mandela pathway. But what I want people to come with as well as their open heart, is because we're going to have the whole, it's a farm. It's a working farm. And on the working farm, we have alpacas. I think they're called alpacas. They've got long necks and they look like that. And we've got horses. We've got sheep. We've got chickens. But none of those things are for anybody to eat. They're just there on the land. Where we are, for those of you that were there last year, I know it was really hilly and it was a bit rolly. We've got flat land. We're going to be doing a lot of ceremonies around freedom and developing the self-love within us via the energy of Winnie Mandela. All of the workshop facilitators are going to be presenting from the perspective of freedom and or the life of Winnie Mandela. It's going to be. I just want you all to come and be there, because when we go to Ghana, we're going to go to Ghana in 2023. I want you to put that in your diary. It's going to be in September, and I think actually the dates are now on the website. So if you go to www.shanti-chi.com, you will see on the website the dates for Ghana. It's going to be 2 weeks, but we're going to be doing a sponsored walk in this September to help people raise money to go towards the permanent village and to go to Ghana. So Ghana is 2023. So those of you that are coming this year, it's really good to create team and to create solidarity and to create that energy where we vibe off of each other. Because when we see each other outside of the village, there's always that warm hug. Really, the Inde Argo African Storytelling Family Retreat is a hug fest, basically. And when you go there, you get good hugs, and the children get good hugs. Even the ones that might try to fight you off, they come. And every day, one of the children said what they loved about being in the village is that they had all of these adults that were available to them, that they could talk to any adult if they had an issue, and they couldn't talk to their parents, but they could talk to an auntie or an uncle. And they had all of these children available to them. They had all of these people that were there. They were outside. So that's a really good reason for coming. Whether you have children or not, come to support the children of the future. Come 2022, let's consolidate our energies together, and then let's travel together to Ghana in 2023, where I've hired out a whole forest. And in this forest, they do extra workshops, like they show you how to do essential oils, how to make essential oils. So you'll be making essential oils as well as all the other things that we have to offer. And I think it's really important that if you've grown in a city, to make that transition to being in nature. So when we go to Ghana and we're in the forest, we'll be in the forest together and learning how to live in the forest and listening to the sounds of the forest. Listen, the sounds of the English forest are well noisy, and the sounds of the African forest are even noisier. It's not that they're more frightening or more frightening things happen there, though our imagination will tell us so. It's just, it's vaster and it's new. And I would really urge people to, the only way we can reclaim the motherland is not to be here going criticizing, but to be there, be in the space. If you want to stay here, claim the land here by being in the countryside, reclaim the land, get out of the city. So that's the whole thing about in their argle, mother of divine nation, building a divine nation. That's really the important thing for me, is building a divine nation. And I can't do that by myself, because I feel it in my sisters and my brothers. They want that hug a chief. Yeah, we're going to have chiefs that you can hug, or you can just hug a griot. My arms are open. Who's Ashanti Frank? She's going to be at the village. Great stuff. You know, my mother.
I'm back.
Just mentioning, talking about you when you was talking about being a doula. My mother was a midwife, and one of the things I've always wanted to do is to build a center, a midwifery center, in honor of my mother, because she, you know, after my mother passed away, I was at this gathering, and I was just talking to this woman. Never met her before, just got talking to her, and she was talking about the child that she'd given birth to a few years ago, and she talked about the midwife, and she described her, and I said, "What was her name?" She said, "It turns out her midwife was my mother." And she was just bigging up my mum so much. It just made me want to cry, and my heart was like, oh, but it was so warming to know that there were people that felt so powerful about my mother, you know, that she was such a great midwife, because she used to work in the hospital, but she came out, she became one of those community midwives, and she always encouraged people to have their babies at home, even though that wasn't the party line. She always said, you know, if you can have it at home, but I don't know if you're aware of it. And she would encourage people to have their baby at home, and she would be their midwife, and people just absolutely loved her, and she loved her job of delivering babies. And I'm just, you know, I was just sad that she wasn't around to deliver my babies, because she would have been she was such an amazing woman. Now I say that,
well, we're definitely gonna have a conversation, because now you're walking into my dream. Now
well,
you know what I mean?
You can help my vision for creating a center for my mother. You can help that happen, because, you know, we have to have a space where babies are born, and my mother was really about natural birth as much as possible, you know, and the talking and the leading up to and getting to know mothers. She worked for the National Health Service, believe it or not, but she still held on to all of those old traditions of taking care of mothers before they have their babies. Not knowing that when she came here, she wasn't a midwife. She came as an English teacher. Her English was absolutely fantastic. She used to mock me for speaking without using the T's, like I say, butter or hotter. You know, she said, you know, there's T. You know, there's T in them words. You have to say butter. There's T. You are born in England and you can't speak English. She would mock me, but they didn't like her accent, so she retrained as a midwife, and she loved it. Actually, they did her a favor. She's amazing. She was amazing. So, you know, if you're looking to do midwifery, doulaing on the motherland, you know, we need one in our village. You
Absolutely.
Know, and just invoke the energy.
You know what it is about me? When I first came into my consciousness, one of the first things I learned about is the importance of having a trade. Yeah. Having a skill. Having a skill, having a trade. Yeah. And so it made sense to me after having children that it was just sort of a natural progression. Yeah. It's something that's needed, something that I love. Yeah. And it's something that I can give as a service, and I have experience of. It was a win-win. Yeah. Becoming a doula for me. And I've always, when I was actually there was a time when I was going to go into midwifery, and the only reason why I didn't actually go into midwifery is because when you look at the statistics of, you know, mortality rate in Africa and the mortality rate here, they're like this. They're pretty much the same. Yeah. One may have less intervention, and maybe there's other factors, but one has too much intervention, which can impede the situation, as we know and we discussed, etc. So I thought to myself, well, how does that make sense? Yeah, how does that make sense? And when I started training in midwifery, I knew too much. I was a thorn in their side. I was like,
Yeah, no.
no.
You know, when I had my children, I had Inkechi at home, and I planned to have Chuku at home, but he ended up going into hospital. And then they wanted to give me a blood transfusion, and my midwife, I had my own midwife, the same one that delivered my daughter. She came in just in the nick of time. The ancestor said to her, listen, you need to go down that hospital, because she hadn't planned to come and see me. She came, and just as they were going to reel me out to give me a blood transfusion, because I was unconscious, she said, no, 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 no. She makes her own blood. She doesn't need anybody else's blood. She's got her own blood, and she can make her own blood. And I just give so much thanks. I give a lot of thanks. What is Ashai Frankie saying? Even though it's because of your role as a doula, you've been unable to come to the festival.
To the festival.
Oh, but can I come to Ghana? Yeah, for sure, you can come to
I
Ghana.
I actually had to turn a client away. Somebody actually asked me to, they asked me if I could support them, and I said, I'm sorry, I cannot during that time. That is my sacred time. Yeah, that's my sacred time of year now. That's become that's like the sacred time of year. So I recognize the power of the experience. I think it's going to be extremely rewarding. And if you haven't been, I cannot stress it enough. Yeah, I cannot stress it enough. Things get resolved. Healing gets done. It actually gets done. There's a lot you also go away with leaving there. Leaving in the past, leaving it in that space, and coming up back very much a renewed sense of self as well. It's very much like an initiation, actually. Very much like that. So
I feel I've been initiated for the last 12 years, because every year I learn something new, people bring. But the thing that I love the most is how I am able to experience the beauty of my melanin-rich sisters and brothers. This is the time of the year where I love you people, that love my people the most. It's just a space where people just come and shine. Even last year, we had someone come in the first day. She was miserable. Oh my gosh. And normally this woman, when she sees me, she hugs me. And I was calling her. She was... Anyway, everybody was just there for her. The next day, she went round, she apologized to everyone, she kissed everyone, she hugged everybody. This is a time of year where I just love my people, and I love being melanin rich, and it just reminds me how wonderful it is to be in this skin, and to have this culture, and to have these roots, and to have this life force, and to be connected to the ancestral past that I'm connected to. It's this time of the year. It just makes me feel glowing and happy.
So I'm inviting people back into the space. If they do want to, they can come into the chat. You can have a conversation. If you've got an experience and you want to share it, almost like a testimonial, I suppose. Yeah. Anybody who was there at all and is inside of the space, don't hesitate to come in and share your the space if you want to with us. It's like the reunion, and and so I'll pop that in the chat again, but I recognize, I think it's important to, I suppose, look at what, one of the things I saw about the experience as well is about that I'm very much about bridging the generational gap. And what you got to see was, the intergenerational dynamics, conversations, healing. You really got to see how the children could operate in a village setting. Like, okay, so you imagine now you had, at Manhood Academy Global, waking up in the morning at 5 a.m. They were our alarm clock at the time. So anybody who wanted to get to sleep after 5 a.m., forget about it. And, but it was good because it was a bright, beautiful day. And it was, in the end, it was like, okay, that's our alarm. The boys were up, they were training. And then what happened after that is that we, obviously had things like breakfast and different events and yoga in the mornings and stuff like that. But I remember also, the power of, everyone getting a chance to cook and share food. And those kinds of things, and cooking in the as soon as people rise, they're cooking, or it was, I was explaining this to someone. I was telling someone else about this, because actually a couple of my family members might come, my brother, my sister, possibly my aunt. Yeah, let's do a family retreat out here. Yeah, so you might meet the family and my nephew, and so and I remember, like, you go down to the showers and you meet, it's like the person from the village at the top of the village, and that part of the village. You're like, oh, and you have this lovely chat in the morning with your towel. Everybody's standing there having their morning chat, and then everybody goes, and it just seems so surreal. It's amazing. It's so simple.
So simple.
It's like
simple.
It's the simplicity of it that blows
it's like
you
what
away.
You were saying earlier on, that the effect is subtle, but it's deep and powerful. Sister Angie's just sorry, go ahead.
No, go on.
Sister Angie's reminding me about volunteers. Hey, Dennis. Woo!
Greetings,
volunteers. Dennis, can I say something about volunteers before you?
Of course. Go ahead.
Angie's just reminded me. So we have a volunteer training program, because the volunteers at the festival are the best. Are they not the best?
Yeah.
They're brilliant.
Amazing.
They really support they really hold the whole thing together, and it's because of the training. So the training we have, we're still looking for some volunteers. So if you're strong and you have got time, the 14th, the 15th, the 21st, the 22nd, the 28th, and the 29th of May, they're all weekends. That's when we're going to be doing our training. And the training is in customer service, it's in mental health building, it's in tent building, it's in fire building, it's in customer service, it's in gatekeeping, it's in dealing with difficult customers, it's in sharing, it's in team building, it's in all of those things. And we take 6 days to do it, and it really makes a difference. And you develop a spiritual connection to your team, and when you get to the village, you develop a spiritual connection to the people in the village, and you're a guide for people who are like, oh, what do I do? They follow the guidance of the volunteers, and the volunteers are just like, they're a shining light, and they're there, and they really love to give. Like one of our volunteers, Drew, he is an artist in his own right. He's a brilliant artist. And yet, when I said to him, "Okay, do you want to be an artist instead of a volunteer this year?" He said, "Yeah, I can be an artist, but can I still volunteer? Because I really enjoyed it. Volunteering is a lot of work. It's a lot of work." But that's where he
was excellent. He was excellent. If you don't listen, don't be scared. You know how to put up a tent. Yeah, you've got support.
Brother Drew. I remember him helping.
Hold on. Let me just welcome you to the space, bro. Let me just welcome you. Brother Dennis. Now, actually, for those who don't know Brother Dennis, he is actually we're gonna have him on very soon, as it goes in June, because he is a personal trainer, and I'm gonna have 2 personal trainers on, and we're gonna get down to the summer. Conversation with the summer. So you were at the event last year. Tell us your story, your experience, and you're also part of Manhood Academy Global.
Yes,
so those were it was down to you all that we were all up beautifully early in the morning. Thank you.
Yeah.
So tell us.
Yes. So normally, when the boys finish their kind of 2-year rites of passage training, we take them to Africa, in 2018, we took 14 young masters to the Gambia on the rites of passage trip. But obviously, because of lockdown and things like that, we couldn't take them in 2020. 2021. But yeah, so taking them to the storytelling retreat was almost like a taster of that, so they could get a taste of what it would be like to be part of the village, and it was amazing. It was an amazing experience, and yeah, they really enjoyed it. Some of them more than others. Some of them, some of them found it challenging, but that's the whole purpose, because a rites of passage isn't supposed to be comfortable, but more than that, they actually got to be initiated into the village. The village really embraced them. Yeah, really embraced them. It was amazing. It was powerful. And part of what we did was every morning, we got them up at 5:30 every morning to take them to exercise. Yeah, to exercise, meditation, exercise, meditation, and we did some African martial arts with them as well. So, and then after that, they were free to do and get involved with whatever workshops they're involved to, they wanted to get involved with during the day. But the other thing as well was having young men at the retreat or in the village meant that one of our instructions to them was, we do not want to see a single sister, carrying anything heavy or struggling carrying something when you guys are standing around doing nothing. If there's anything that needs setting up, anything that needs moving, anything that needs, anyone that needs help, that's what you guys are there for. So yeah, it was a great. They
were really good. They were really good.
Amazing.
And I actually, what was beautiful about it is I actually really saw them transform. I really saw it. They also came to, I did my workshop knowing that, the possibility of young people coming. So I wanted to incorporate that in the workshop that I'd done there. And they were really, I really got to see them participate, share, stand up, communicate, no one, the way in which the space was held, no one let them get away with not communicating. You couldn't hide, you couldn't sort of run off. Someone's going to find you. Yeah. And it was wonderful to hear the richness of their experience and what they got. Because, when young people sit around, inside of you've got a lot of campfires and things like that, you don't know how much of it they're taking on. Yes. I know that you did a ritual with them, and they put, they did a fire ritual as well.
Yeah.
And I saw them transform, and I saw, where there was challenges, they got it handled, and you men. Yeah. But there was a situation, my gosh, real superheroes in the flesh, You couldn't have an incident, like no incident, any kind, which was really beautiful. And I think it really showed us. It really showed us in the community what's possible for young people in village setting. Any of the kind of, no tech. A life without 5 days without tech is a big deal.
Yes.
How did they cope with that? So that's how they cope with that. If anyone's thinking, oh my gosh, my child won't come because my child would not be able to cope with that tech. How did they manage? Tell us. Tell them all the parents the secrets so that they can prep their children from now.
No, I mean, when we took the 14 young masters to the Gambia, the first thing we did was, at the airport, their phones were taken away. They had to hand in their phones to their mums or their guardians. So there was no social media. If they needed to contact their parents or the guardians, they could do it through us. They used one of our phones and so on and so forth. And it was the same thing. It was the same thing with the storytelling. So we'd prepared them for this already, but also them not having that distraction of phones and social media meant that, just like the fire circles, we could sit around and talk and connect and discuss, and they could sit amongst each other and talk and discuss and really get to know each other and connect on a really deep level without those distractions, and sit and talk and even connect with adults from around the village. And there's something that you mentioned, Sister Mo, about them not being allowed to get away with anything. And what was special about the village is that everything that we teach them and go through with them, everyone in the village was echoing that, so it wasn't just voices coming from us, but things that we spoke to them about and things that we told them about, they were getting told by Yeah, they were getting told by strangers that they'd never met before, you know. So these things were being reinforced and confirmed to them, you know. So, and that was really powerful. That was really special. But more than anything, it showed them that they had a role within the village. They had a purpose within the village, you know. And yeah, they had a role to play in the village, you know, to be an integral part of the village. And that's what was special about it. And the thing about the village is you have all the different generations, you know, 3-4 generations, you know, from the 5-year-olds to 12-year-olds and the 13-year-olds to 19-year-olds, and you got their, you know, their parents and the great grandparents, and you got all those generations, you know, all represented, and everyone kind of contributing, you know. And yeah, and that's one of the most important things for our young people to know, that yes, they have a role to play, an active.
You know what you're saying about the young people just sitting around the fire talking. That is such a powerful thing for them to be able to do. Because I do remember when it was Kent, I think it was the year before, when we was in Quadrangle, we had a fire, and there was a group of young people that sat around the fire all night long. All night they sat and they talked. And at one point I did stand, and I didn't join in with the conversation, I just listened. And there was one young person that was saying to another young person, clearly you are upset, but we don't know why you're upset. And if you don't talk to us, then we might keep doing the same thing and keep upsetting you. And this is them working it out between them. And I thought, wow, you know, so just tell us what's going on. And then the other people's go, tell us what's going on. And then someone said, was it when we did this? And they go, no. And someone said, yeah, but maybe it was because then your energy changed. And they were going into it. And I was so impressed. I was like, wow, this is what happens when they're outdoors. They're just round the fire under the stars, and they're just left to talk amongst themselves.
Yeah.
Powerful.
In the elements, in the elements, among the elements. And yeah, it was powerful. That's it. And so it was an amazing experience that I kind of left in the comments. It was almost like like a Black utopia, African utopia.
It was
the vision that came,
it was almost like a grieving when I came back. A level of grief. Swear.
It's true.
Like part of my soul was left over there, yo.
Yeah. It's true.
I feel that. I'm missing it. That's why
I can't wait. That's a highlight of my year. I can't wait. One of the highlights of my year. I can't wait. And I really can't, because I feel that, you know, it's so rich for my children. They learn about it. You know, they've definitely got into like the parkour thinking as well. They like, you know, we got some liquid chalk the other day. Yeah, you know, anyone know about liquid chalk, bro? Once you got liquid chalk, you can climb any tree, you know.
Okay.
Spider-Man.
Liquid chalk, yeah. The real Spider-Man in my house right now. They're like, yeah, where's the tree? And so, you know, I'm going to be bringing my liquid chalk. I want to see these children climb. Yeah, because, you know, I was as a child, I climbed trees, and now it's, you know, we are so risk averse.
Yeah.
And in that environment, you know, it's also, you're taking your children through their own kind of emotional, physical, spiritual initiation, because you're basically saying to them, okay, you know, when you're there, you actually have to grow up. There's a part of you that has to grow up slightly in order to maintain self. It doesn't matter if you're 4 or 14. You've got to know how to operate and synchronize with the environment. And so if you aren't exposed, you find that, you know, the children learn very quickly, very quickly to adapt to the environment and fall in line with it without, you know, you don't hear parents really even believe me, you don't hear any parents really taking off their children. You don't.
You don't. I know. You don't hear it. Children are not. The parents are not cussing.
No,
but do you know what?
The children have got so much space.
They got space, but the other thing is, they don't the parents don't even need to tell the children off, because the village is doing it. You know, there's an auntie or an uncle or another elder or someone that's doing it. Yeah, watching them. Like I said, it takes a village to raise a child, and that's why he said the parents can chill when they're there, because they're like, okay, cool, like the village can parent them, you know, so they can relax and take a bit of time. And I remember when we did a conflict ritual, yeah, and I think part of that ritual was I think it was a mother and
daughter.
Yes, and the conflict was the mother told of her grandson for disturbing the mother, you know, for I think breakfast or something like that, and the conflict, and then as a result of that, the daughter got into it with the mum because of how the mum spoke to the son and this, that, and the other. And once again, it's almost like getting used to the fact that yes, you can relax while you're there, and you know what, yeah, your child's going to be parented by somebody else, and allow it.
All on you.
It's not.
Yeah, and everybody seems to be parenting each other's children just effortlessly.
That's it. Yeah, because it's natural in the village.
Yeah. You see someone who's doing something out of turn.
Yeah.
No, but it's not just. It's come, sit down. Let's have a conversation.
Even then, you might be in a situation where you have to shut it down quite quickly, and you've got something else going on. Yeah, that's real, right? So, but the bottom, either way, whether you get to sit down with the child or you get to pull them up very briefly, they just seem to fall in line really easily in that space.
Yeah.
It's just mind-blowing, actually, in terms of how the children operate. I think that's one of the most important parts for me. It's just seeing the effortlessness of the children, and you know how children are so, you know, they're so engaged, they're so there's so much mental activity going on, on a normal, in a normal environment. You know, they're overstimulated, they're wired for, you know, being hyper. They get to burn out through the whole day.
It's interesting. Yeah. It's interesting that you call that a normal environment. You know, the environment that we live in now. You know what I mean? We call it normal, but like that level of overstimulation is so abnormal.
Absolutely.
So unnatural and dangerous. But like I said, it's become the norm for many people. And for the first time in a long time, they got the chance to be in an environment where they just didn't have those distractions. You know, they weren't overly stimulated, and they could actually be children. They could actually sit down, actually engage and connect, and even sit by themselves. You know, sit by themselves.
Or say, you know, community games. Remember, we were saying gender, and it just, you know, children. If you ask your children sometimes to do certain things in a group, in an environment that's not natural. And a natural environment like that, you know, they're fussing and flapping and all these kinds of things to do it, and it's an uproar inside of themselves, even if they're not trying to show it. You know, then you find that in that environment there's an effortlessness about it. There's a beauty in it. Can
I say something?
Sure.
Yes,
it's just, I mean, I'm sitting here and I'm smiling. And I'm smiling. My cheeks are hurting because I'm smiling so much, because all of the things that you're saying is like, when I think about when it first started, the idea of putting village, so that it went from being an idea in our heads as city folk to actually being a physical space where the village spirit can have a place to dance. Then hearing you and hearing all of the people that talk about their experience of being in the village, it just makes me feel like, yes, it was the thing that needed to be done. And that
absolutely
it's the thing that we're missing. And listening to you talking about the children and the next generation and how important that energy of being in the villages, and you can't talk about it without experiencing it. Not really. You can give it a definition, You can say, where's the village? Because that was one of the things in our community. I kept hearing, where's the village? Where's the village? Where's the village? And I was thinking, do you know what? The village needs a place, and it needs to be a physical thing, and it needs to be connected to the land. Yeah. So hearing you all talking there, I'm sitting there going, smiling, my heart is jumping, my ancestors are going, bruh, 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 because if this was the norm, imagine how much we would feel, how amazing we would feel. Do you know what I mean? Like, the norm was to do this all the year round, and then we'd have 5 days off to go to the city to go and do some shopping. What a different vibration. And it's such a simple life. You know, it's a simple life because we don't have no technology. We don't need technology because my neighbor is just there. The people I want to talk to are there. So I don't need
there.
My business and the people I want to serve are right there. So I don't need the website. Everybody that I need is right there. The food I'm growing is on the trees, so I don't need a car to go shopping. Do you know what I mean? So the more simple you get, the closer you get to utopia, as you say, the less you need technology, and the more we connect to nature, and this life that we call normal, we can put to one side and become living a natural life as opposed to a normal life. But listening to you and all of the comments, it just made my heart go, yes! Yes, yes, yes.
It's true. It's very, I mean, coming from someone that actually lived in a village and spent the first 5 years of my life in a Uganda. What you just described there, Griot Chinyere, where you live your whole life, the whole year as the village, and 5 times a year or 6 times a year or 1 day a month you go to the city, you know, to trade or do whatever you need to do, and that is what it was, you know, where you lived the whole year like that, but once every 2 months, you know, you went to the city to trade, or if you needed to go to the city to get this or get that, that's what the norm was. But there's been this flip where, you know, an emptying out of the village where everyone's gone to this city, and you know, now there's hardly any people in the village, or being in the village or being part of the village is almost frowned upon, because we have this whole idea of modernization, and you know how that's, you know, how great that is, but it's had a very adverse effect. And going back to our roots of, you know, as a people, you know, going back to our roots of the village is extremely, extremely important, and that's, you know, that's where we draw our strength. That's where we draw our sense of identity, our sense of belonging, and that's where we draw our strength. And that's where we go to get, even in modern day Africa now, people go to the village to get replenished. when they're ill, when they're sick, when there's something wrong with them, they go back to the village to reset, to get replenished. But but that's where we should, you know, the village is where we should be spending the majority of our lives. So
the village should be the default position. The village should be the default position.
And that's what, you know, that's what I get a sense of what you're looking to do here. I mean, like, there's, you know, I put it out in the chat again if you want to join the conversation, and Angie's in the chat, who is a team member as well. So
dream team.
So, you know, I just, you know, I really valued the experience, and I think you're right. There is a replenishment that happens. You know, you go to retreats and it's kind of like it falls away, but there's something about this experience that has you. It stays with you.
It does.
It really stays with you. Yeah,
there's a lot to process.
There is, and you know, we're all. It's like your children are watching you evolve, and you're watching them evolve at the same time. You're going through exponential growth all at the same time. They're seeing if let's say you're a parent who, you know, might, I don't know, not want to do a night walk or something like that. Your children will also assist you in dealing with let's say bugs. I'll give you an example. A lovely example. I'm a person, I don't like stag beetles, you know. I can do spiders. I don't like them, you know.
Quite specific.
I had an experience with them when I was about 10. No word of a lie. Smaller side. Some, you know, we all play it out, you know, as we do. And the boys, as boys do, oh yeah, I'll just get a stag beetle, yeah. starts throwing stag beetles, and I'm in the crossfire.
Crossfire.
And the thing catches my neck. And it's hanging on my neck. And I was like, oh! Right? So anyway, and my children know I've got a thing about stag beetles.
Just that one experience. Just that one experience.
That was enough, love. When you've got a stag beetle hanging off your neck, let me know. Right? I want to know. Call me. I'll let you know how to do it. So anyway, I'm only about 10, so I'm screaming anyway. And I haven't seen stag beetles for years. You hardly see them. But anyway, one night when we were camping, it's about 3 a.m. We've all finished the fire and everything else, etc., etc. And one of our children's left their tent open, haven't they? And he's just gone into bed, and you've got this thing crawling all over him. I'm like, oh God! And I have no choice. I'm a Harriet moment here. I have no choice but to handle this thing, yo.
There you go.
I'm like, I just want my children to know. I want my children to know. Yeah, I did it for you.
Growth.
Do you know what? Though? Your children will be like, but that's your job. That's your job.
They know one has a boundary.
Why do you want recognition for just doing your job, yo?
I know. True. I want medals.
You're just doing your job.
So, but
do you know what you said? Sorry.
But what was there? Why I said that is because it's one of those things that if you had underlying challenges or some background, something hiding away, it's gonna come up today. And you got to do it. It's 3 in the morning. I can't go around swimming down the place, right? So I'm gonna have to take it up.
You got to deal with it.
Yeah. You saying that the festival stays with you. I think it's because being in that village vibration, it awakens something in your DNA. It awakens your ancestral, it awakens an ancestral past. It awakens you. It's like, oh yeah, I remember this. Yeah.
It's very much an ancestral memory. That's how it feels. Very much an ancestral memory.
Now, I'm awake. I want the village. I want to see you every day. I want to wake up every day and see your face and see the yamp in your eyes. I want to see you in the corner. I want to see you in the shower.
You know that moving face, right?
I want to see your face. No makeup, looking all rough and ready.
Listen, we're all looking rough and happy. That's the thing. We're looking rough in the moment, but happy, you know?
Great uprising. I want to see you looking. I don't care. I just want to see you. I want to see you when I'm eating my food. I want to sit next to you when we're around the fire having a conversation. I just want to see you every day because it feels right to see the same people every single day. That feels right and it feels good. And so that's why when you come back, you're mourning because you don't have all of that and you know that you should. That's how we're supposed to be. And so we want to create that feeling again and again and again and again.
So tell us, fast forward. Look, thank you so much, Dennis, for coming on. I'm going to complete this section now. Give thanks. I hope to see you very soon. I know you're going to be on here soon. So keep an eye out for the gym guy, Dennis, because he'll be on here in a couple of months' time. So give thanks, beloved. And I'm going to go shut this down. Beautiful. Thank you. So I want us to kind of like go forward a little bit about, you were in the bio, we talked a little bit about your transition to Ghana. Yeah. And so tell us about, some people, we've heard in the chat as well, some people can't come this year, but they might be able to come next year. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I want to get a sense of what is it that you're looking to create there? You talked about you're going to get some land. You're talking about donations. Please tell us a little bit about that before we close.
Okay, so in Ghana, so there's a place called the Volta region. And the first time I came across the Volta region, I was going to Ghana with the father of my children. He was a dancer for Ajido. and they were going to Ghana for 1 month to do a dance tour. And they gave the dancers an opportunity to bring their family. So we all went. I went, my daughter went, and I was 4 months pregnant with my son at the time. But we never told anybody. We just kept that because they'd have been going, you can't go with 4 months. Anyway, so we went to Ghana. But so whenever I go anywhere, I look at a map. So I opened the map and I was just drawn to the Volta region. And I had no idea why. Anyway, when I went to Ghana that year, I didn't get an opportunity to go to the Volta region. But then the next time I went on a tour guide. And they went around Ghana and they got to the Volta region. And when they got to the Volta region, I said goodbye to everybody. And me and my children stayed there. And they introduced us to people in the village and they looked after us. So we were able to just say goodbye and know that we were going to be looked after. And every time since I've been to Ghana, I get off the plane in Accra and I get in a car and I go straight to the Volta region. And I have learned that I have the Igbo people and the Ewe people have an ancestral connection, a really strong connection, which I discovered much later on because I didn't know what this thing was. Anyway, so when I was there maybe 10 years ago, I was given some land, but it took me so long to get there that the people that gave me the land, they passed away. So the land went on to their children and their children decided to use it for other stuff. And that's fair enough. So this land that I've been offered now, Sister Ivy, you know Sister Ivy from the Ankh Wellbeing Centre, she comes to she comes to the Inne Argol annually. I think she might have missed 1 year, but she comes regularly, and she's bought land in the Volta region. Anyway, one day me and her was talking, and she said, "Well, where do you want us to go in the Volta? I mean, in Ghana?" And I said, "The Volta." She said, "Oh, I've got land in the Volta."
Oh wow, beautiful.
And then she said, do you know what? The chief has got land that he's willing to give away for community projects. And she spoke to the chief, not me. She spoke to him and told him about Inne Argol. And she said he loves the idea and they're waiting for you to come so that you can talk to him because he's got about 5,000 acres and he's happy to give you some acreage so that you can do the Inne Argol village. Brilliant. So I'm going to be going there in the next month or so. So in the Volta region, what I want to do when they give me the land is that, so I'm not going to be clearing lots of trees. Everything's going to stay there. I want to learn how to build mud huts in the shape of a yurt. If you don't know what a yurt looks like, Google yurt, Y-U-R-T-S. They're beautiful. They've got wooden beams and normally they're covered with material, but I want to do that with mud. So that's for people for as a living space because they make beautiful living spaces. Then have a resource center type library because I have a friend. I've known him maybe 40 years, 35 years I've known him. And he's got a vast amount of books and records and CDs and magazines and things. And he doesn't have children. So I'm saying to him, like, when I go to build the village, we can build a resource center so you can put your books and your collection, because his collection is amazing and it's vast. So I said, you can use this space to put your, I mean, like I've got about 500 books, but it's nothing compared to what he's got. So we can build that space. And then, so there'll be the resource learning center with all of these resources in it. And then, so that's one thing we want to build. Then there's the amphitheater, the space where but around the tree. So I'm going to find the tree. I haven't found the tree yet, and build an amphitheater around it. So there's a space where we do our oral tradition.
Beautiful. And the tree's the centerpiece.
And the trees they always hold ancestral energy.
Yeah, holding space. It's holding space.
Yes.
It's not about removing the tree. It's about encompassing the tree. Absolutely.
Yes. And that is where we initially have our meetings, have our gatherings, have our talks. Is around.
Sounds.
That's where I want to create the amphitheater. And then one of the last things, and my daughter was talking about it a few years ago, was having a publishing house. So if you come into this space, you learn how to tell stories, you learn how to write stories, you can publish the stories, and then you've got a resource center where we can have a copy of people's work that's been published, and that gets passed on through the generations. So the village as a start. It's got a story, it's got a backstory, and it's got a vision for the future. It's complete. That's the idea. And we have, and people will live simply, and we'll share toilets and showers and, you know, that kind of thing. And we'll have shared kitchens, and we'll have living areas that will be as bathrooms and living areas, but we'll have shared areas too. So we'll have a balance. Yeah. So can you see that? Can you see what I'm?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm just like, again, utopia. Yeah, absolutely. You know, and
I'm learning, but I'm very.
I think as we get older, I think we also have to understand as we get older, our needs change as well, and the simplicity of life matters. The simple things matter more than, you know, the extravagance of this and that. Yes, all of those Western, you know, all that, you know, that which glitters is not always gold kind of thing, right? But it's the space, you know, I experience it, so I can take advantage of the fact that I've experienced that before with, you know, the sharing and, you know, everybody dealing with it in that way. And I think being in a environment where our natural fruit is growing, our natural vegetables are growing, you know, the melanin is there, we're waking up to our people, surrounded by our people. That's wow.
Listen, when I'm 65, 70, 80, 90, I still want to climb a mango tree and collect my mango. I want to be able to do that without no drama. I saw a video of a woman climbing a mango tree. She was like, she must have been 90. She was just climbing it like, not a mango tree, a tree. And she was climbing it like this. So it's possible. It's possible. So yeah, I want.
Oh, you've got a request here. You've got a request. Yeah.
Oh, Sister Angie. Okay, then.
Go on then. Sing the theme.
I'm present to my love light. I'm present to my love light. I stand in my power, for I know now is the time for me to rise and shine. In there, in there.
Oh, I remember it as well now.
In there.
You have to be there to experience it. It's one of those, right? Where we're all doing
it together. I will pay you, Sister Angie. Don't worry, I will get you.
This is Angie, Mama Angie, don't do things like that. It's beautiful, but you know, that's you anyway. I mean, you're the type of person who could just, you know.
Singing is not the thing that I like to do. If she said tell this story, I'd have been happy about it. But she said sing a song. She deliberately said sing a song because she knows I don't like singing.
That was mean. That was mean. But we loved it. And I think, and what you hear, everybody, what you have to understand about that song is that for those who don't know, it gets sung there close to the end, right? It was close to the end when we were coming to like the ceremony, the finalities of it. Yeah. So we were all kind of singing it, and it was kind of like, it was almost like, it was very much the theme music as you sort of left the space. It's sort of in the air as you leave. And so all of us kind of like humming it and being engaged in that changes the dynamics. You've got the drumming, the you know, drumming forever going on. Yeah, there's always kind of that drumming, that heartbeat, that sense of that groundedness. Yeah. And, you know, if we're looking at masculine and feminine, which is what we talked about earlier, you really see, I tell you what I saw in that environment, very clear. You know, women, us as women, in an environment like that, us as women, the femininity is effortless in a space like that, and the men step up effortlessly in a space like that. They will naturally, and Dennis said it earlier about having the boys helping and the brothers helping, and people were like, right, what do I do? And it's almost like everybody found their role just effortlessly navigating that. And so I remember feeling very feminine in that space as well. You know, it was really feel my feminine cup, because, you know, we have to understand we live in a very masculine society. Yeah. And the patriarchal system is very real. Yeah. And every day it's blah, 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 blah. So, you know, there's going to be a level of defense inside of that, of course. But in a space like that where you can surrender into your feminine. Yeah. And I think that's what, because when you have these conversations about these things, we have to understand that we're not even in the right environment, conducive environments for relationships to really flourish. They really take a particular type of work. And so we have to do a lot of work and create the village mindset from within. Yeah. But when you're in an environment like that, you know, the possibilities are endless. Yeah. The growth is so fast in those days. It's 5 days, but it feels like 10. Yeah, easily. It feels like 2 weeks you're away. Yeah. Because that's the richness of it. And just being able to, you know, fill your cup and your feminine cup and boost your masculine if you're a male. It's almost like everybody finds their position. They know. Nobody's trying. It's not competitive. The energy, none of that. None of that. And we take that for granted because in a conscious community, we don't expect that certain types of behavior, competitiveness, and what have you. But it will still show up from time to time in different environments. But in that environment, when we are relaxed, when we are safe, and the barriers are down. The guard is kind of down at this point for everyone. So you really get a strong sense of, you know, you can feel comfortable, in your femininity and surrender to it. And, you know, you're not going to be carrying this, that, and the other. Someone's going to be supporting you to do that. Or, sis, can I help you with this? Or, you know, and another sister might help you with that. Or you might help another sister with that. People just helping, just naturally helping each other. Yeah. And to be fair, I'm going to be straight. I've never seen that in any other environment. Yeah. In any other environment with the effortlessness of us just falling into line and all in energetically, emotionally, spiritually, naturally. And so what it tells me is we've overstayed our welcome in this environment. It's too toxic. The truth is, it's too toxic.
It is.
Yeah. We're all kind of like, yeah, you know, it's like people feel like they're drowning. You've got the cost of living, you've got that, you've got all of these kind of, if you come into it with simplicity, then anything else on top of that is a bonus. Yeah. So I love the idea of having a library, having the printed word. Yeah. I love the thought of that. I think, you know, we'll definitely have to have a conversation about birth center, because yeah, you touched my heart now. It's on now. It's on. Yeah, and that is a beautiful space. I mean, that was always the vision for me. So to have a birth centers and African birth centers in the Caribbean, that was always the vision. So anyone who doesn't know me knows that now. So I love that. And it's, you know, who more would I do that with? Yeah, than, you know, one of my mothers in the community. Yeah, put my personal mothers in the here. So I really want to thank you for sharing the experience. Dennis, thank you so much for coming on, and thank you everyone for coming in the chat. And I just really want to thank everyone for that, because I think that, you know, we take it for granted that, you know, camping is just like, okay, you're learning particular skills, but it's more than that. It's the connections that get made. It's the possibilities are kind of endless inside of that. You know, your thinking, your perspective really transforms in a space like that, and so does it, and it transforms for everyone. Yeah, your children don't come back the same. You don't come back the same. No one comes back the same. Yeah, if you think you're coming back the same, you're not. Sorry, you're not. And I'm not. So I know that for me, I'm going to have another transformation this year doing this. Absolutely. especially where we're talking about Winnie Mandela, like mind blowing. So, you know, I really look forward to it. I just want to throw up some of the details again where people can get hold of you. So you can buy tickets, at Shanti-Chi.com. You can also, if you want to connect with a Griot, you can also get her on Instagram. Yeah, so Griot Chinyere. Yeah, that's her Instagram handle. And again, this is where it's going to be. So start thinking, start planning, start putting it in, put it in your diary, buy your tickets. If you can get an early bird ticket, get your early bird.
No, early bird is done.
Oh, well, it's not early. Sorry, Matt.
It's finished. If I give you the actual page. Oh, have I lost you? Can you still see me?
I can.
Oh, right, okay. If I give you the page, so where all the information is,
put it in the chat for me. You know, in our chat.
Yeah, then I'll
put it in there, please. So I just, for me, I recognize the power of it. You know, the healing that comes from it, the growth that comes from it. You know, your children and your family won't be the same. If you want your family to have a transformation, go for it. Go for it. Yeah. You okay? You good? You got it?
I found you. I couldn't find you.
Don't. Okay, you got it. If you haven't got it, don't worry. Don't worry.
I've got it. It's here. I got it. So I think take the time to come and see. Yeah, this is where it will be. Yeah, so it will be Willowbrook Farm, Hampton Gray, Kidlington. Yeah. And so that's Oxford. Yeah. And you're talking about the address. So if you're going by, you can either get a coach,
right?
You can get the coach online because we're putting on a coach. If you're driving, drive towards Oxford. It's a 20-minute drive from Oxford. If you if you're going to get on a train, like, because the coach only leaves on the Monday, so if you're coming up later on the Monday, then you might get the train to Oxford and then get a car from Oxford. Or there's a small station called Islip, which is maybe like a 20-minute walk away. So you can get the train to Islip, ISLIP. Just to say, if you're taking London transport, if you're driving, then you just put the postcode in it. It will take you right there. But
okay, and good.
I wanted to say, when you were talking, it's really important that it's important that you bring family, because I'm really glad that you're bringing other family members, because you said about the transformation. There's nothing worse than you transforming and then going to your family and no one in your family has transformed with you. And you're having a feeling and you're just all by yourself. So it's really good to come with people, to come with family, to come with those people that are around you, so that that helps you to carry that feeling on for longer. You're not just telling somebody about it. They were there. So they were feeling it with you. And therefore, when you leave that space, you carry that village vibe in you, and you got people around you that you can move forward with as well.
And it lives. The experience lives, is what is important. So it doesn't sort of disappear in the ethers. Absolutely. So this is where they can get the tickets.
Yeah.
This is a specific
link. On that page will tell you about the 5-day passes. It will also tell you about the accommodation that is available. And it will also tell you about booking your coach, and it will also tell you if you want to be a trader. And underneath there's a little green button. It says shop. One of them says shop. You push the shop, it will take you to the shop, online shop, and then all your choices are there. And you just put them in the basket, and then you pay for them at the end. If you want to be a trader, you'll go to the traders page, you'll download the booking form, and you'll fill out the booking form. If you want to be a volunteer, then email info@shanti-chi and just express your interest. And our volunteer coordinator, James, will get in touch with you, and he'll send you an outline of what to expect as a volunteer, what you get and what we give. What we give, what we expect. Yeah.
Absolutely. So yeah, I know a couple of people who want to volunteer this year as well. So
Tell them to get
I've already sent them the details.
In two weeks. The trainings two. I think.
All right, I will send this on to them. I'll send this on. But I know a couple of people who want to volunteer, who fit the criteria to volunteer. So yeah, I would. I'm definitely going to encourage them to do that, because I think I think it's a beautiful experience, and I would, if I wasn't, it's you have to kind of be very super focused. So obviously to volunteer, it makes sense. If you're not volunteering, you'll have to be seeing to your children in the space. But if you are haven't got children, or you're an elder, or you haven't got children yet, this is a really beautiful opportunity for you to get to know the village, the community, and support and serve our community, because that's what we're. In order to teach, you must first learn how to serve. Yeah, and we have to recognize that that's an important factor. It's not all about just receiving, and teaching, and I'm giving. It's all about service.
And you get so much from that as well. You get so much from serving. You really get from serving.
Absolutely. It's absolutely, and I think it's and it will teach you. If you're not a person who's a natural giver, okay, well, today's the day. You go learn today.
I do want to say this though, because I know somebody was complaining, saying that we were discriminating, because we said we didn't want people who had young children to be volunteers. And like Sister Mort started to explain, was that if you've got children and we need you to volunteer, then you've got to have a problem. You're going to be like, but my children need me and they need me. What do I do? We don't want to put people in that situation, because our philosophy is that you have to take care of your family. Take care of your family. So therefore, if you have to take care of the family, then we are then left in a bit of a situation. We don't have somebody who's going to take care of the village. And that's why we ask for people who either have older dependents that can look after themselves, or don't have any dependencies yet. Yeah.
I understand. And it will feel, on the surface, it will feel like, okay, there's a discrimination. But, realistically, this is a family setting.
Mm-hmm.
And it's family is promoted.
Yeah.
So when you make a request like that, you're not doing it to, disrespect in any way. That's, your mother yourself. What you're showing you is that we care about your family enough that you need to give them your full and undivided attention if you need to. And we don't want you to have to choose.
That's right.
Yeah, between this and that.
No.
Yeah, and so I recognize it might feel uncomfortable for people, but I'd love to volunteer. But I also know at some point, I'm going to get called in. Yeah. I'm already going to be considered anyway.
But you volunteering because we know you've got dependents.
Yeah, but the thing is, it might, of course, and I wouldn't, it might be something I would have liked to do.
Yeah.
Outside of that, but I recognize, if I'm coming from a Western perspective, then I'm going to think on some level, and no offense to who said it, but it's going to feel like discrimination. When you're coming from an African's perspective, we're saying your family are first.
Yeah, that's what we're saying.
So you don't have to worry about that. We'll take care. Those who are allocated will take care of you and your family service.
That's right.
So that's how
we tried it. I have to say, we have tried it. We didn't just say, boom. We thought, okay, people were going on, so we gave it a go. It didn't work. It doesn't.
Of course.
Work because you do have to tend to your family.
Yeah, they have to eat, they have to sleep, they have to, you have responsibilities, and they're two different responsibilities.
Totally
and you don't want, and you want to be able to give, your 100%. Yeah? And so that's the reality of it. It's like if you go and half step in, then you're going to be left, there's going to be a debris about that for you and for them, possibly. If you have to leave at a really poignant time, and there's going to be a debris for you, or a loss, almost a slight loss for you because you weren't there at a particular point. So, you know, if that's the concern, please don't feel offended. From an African perspective, it would be natural for you to put your family first. Yeah. In a Western perspective, family doesn't even matter. Let's just, you know, we already know about that. Yeah. So again, when you go to the festival, it's a rewiring, not just a, you know, a lot of us kind of go through these kind of, you know, we read a lot, we experience a lot and what have you, but this is, you know, and we go through pockets of experiences, but this is living it for 5 days. Yeah. Which is very different, you know, so you have to, you know, the first day might feel a bit uncomfortable. You're really out of your comfort zone. But by the end of it, you're crying that you're leaving. Yeah. I know I was. I remember when on the last day.
Loads of people. They were fully grown men, but their woman had to say to them, listen, we got to go home. And they're like, no, I don't want to go. Fully grown men, not just children.
Of course. Yeah, you know, it was beautiful. And so I want people to understand that, you know, when we're coming from the village mindset, the rules, different rules apply. Different. Yeah. And, you know, loving and considerate rules apply. But with that, beloved, I'm going to complete the show. I'm going to put you backstage, and I want to say thank you so much for coming on. It was a pleasure, always a pleasure. And even in Ghana, yeah, you know, if you know, we'll
see.
We'll find a way.
Okay, so let me just say thank you to you, Sister Mut. Thank you to all of the people that came onto the platform. I'm giving thanks to my ancestors and to the divine creator for the energy, for the vibration, for the purpose. Because I feel like, I was given this purpose. I wouldn't have worked it out all by myself. And for the vision, for the guidance, for the protection, and for just giving me what I need to do, what I need to do with, and for attracting the right people to my direction. And I've just met such beautiful people. So thank you. Thank you, Dennis. Thank you, Sister Angie. Thank you, Matiga. Thank you, Sonia. Thank you. If I start naming, and thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure. You know, this is an important year. It's the last one in the UK, so don't hesitate to come this year and you know, experience this for the last time in the UK. Yeah, you will be upset you miss it. I know it. And those who have missed it and have now gone, they get it. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's an experience. You can't talk about it enough. We could have 4 hours and it still wouldn't give you. It wouldn't even. It's 2.5 hours here, and we couldn't even give you enough of the experience. It is so beautiful. It's so enriching. It's the most enriching experience I had in terms of being away and that my cup being filled and my children, their cup being filled all at the same time. We were just charged, completely charged. Yeah. And so I really want to thank you for that. And I can't wait to do the same again this year. So with that, I will put you backstage, beloved. Wait for me there and I'll close the show. All right, Mama. Thank you. I love it. Yes. So thank you so much, everyone. It was such a beautiful show, so rich, and I'm quite emotional actually. I don't know what's going on with me. So, it's very emotional. It was, you know, the fact that it's going to be the last one, and thank you. And that's we love her, we do. And you know, it was going to be the last one this in the UK. So you know, it's going to be emotional. It's going to be emotional, and it's going to be a lovely experience. So again, you can get hold of her at Griot Chinyere on Instagram. Again, you have her website, Shanti-Chi.com. Yeah, that's and don't forget also this link as well for the deals. Yeah, and where to get the deals from, and look at all the different things. It's the travel, it's the different areas in which it's catered for. And of course, here we are going with the date again, 25th to the 29th of July. Put it in your diary, work it out, make sure you're there, just like we have discussed. So, you know, I won't, you know, we had a a show today, and it was great to have another show. You guys are very lucky for me to do another show this month, because I'm only trying to do 2 shows a month really. But it's but what's really nice as well is that people are coming into my DMs, they are listening, and come into my DMs at Urban Goddess Evolution and send me your work, and I will take a look at it, and and then we can have a conversation and around the work that you do. And then if you want to come on, we'll have a conversation about it and see if your work aligns with our values. So we're complete for the evening and this week, and then we'll be back again in May. So I can't believe, so have a fantastic, in the world of weekends, have a fantastic one. Enjoy it. If you're coming down to Ultra Education in Wembley, I'll see you there at my son's, where my son's going to do his soft book launch. And so that's going to be really, really exciting. Excitedmum.com. And I should really have a website, excitedmum.com. and I just really want to, really thank, our sister for coming in this evening. And just really giving us that food, that knowledge, that awareness, that village is possible. And the fact that our sister's been doing it for so many years now, veteran, so many years, that she can now replicate and work to replicate this in Ghana. I can't say how excited I am. I'm containing myself. But that's really exciting for me. The motherland, heritage, the possibilities are endless. And we all know it's time. We've all expired being here on some level. It's just like the last parts of our work to be complete while we're here. So I just want to say thank you so much again, and just remember, like I usually say, as we do, you ain't got nothing if you ain't got kush.